What was I saying? Oh yeah, his sniper's incredibly annoying when you're on the defensive, because you get your infantry set up and stuff, and then the sniper just starts picking them away, and you can't like charge the sniper. The whole point is that you're defending, you know, you can't just abandon your defensive line. The whole reason you're in the defensive line is because it's giving you cover against all the nasty stuff out there, and the sniper's just negating your cover. It's kind of like in a mortar, almost like that. It's one of those really annoying things when you're on the defense that you got to find some way of dealing with. And something just knocked out the ZSU. Looks like a AT gun, or yeah, the AT gun. I really have to commend the Japanese player on the left. The one on the right not doing so hot, but the one on the left doing a very nice job getting around Brother Pedro's defenses. Those people in this house we're looking at, not anymore, but those people circling around the house, the people throwing grenades in the very beginning. This AT gun that managed to move up very far forward, although that was just decrewed. These infantry fighting on all fronts, and he's got the sniper and really keeping Brother Pedro on his back foot, doing some fantastic harassment. You really have to commend the Japanese player, especially because he could easily have sat back. He's the guy in charge of that leftmost point, and that means he could have just taken that and defended that and said, you know what, I'm calling it a day, which is what quite a few people will do. But no, look at this. It's freaking blitzkrieg over here. There's infantry running all over, and wow, looks like Brother Pedro's ally just stole an AT gun with his little car. But yeah, now it's not going so hot for the Japanese. A lot of his infantry are being chewed up by Brother Pedro's heavy tank, KV-85. That thing's got some armor that the Japanese will have trouble penetrating, although they did manage to take the tread out very quickly, and in a rather inauspicious spot right in the middle of the river, so everyone's getting wet. But yeah, really nice job by the Japanese keeping the pressure up. Keeping the pressure up, a very important concept in a lot of real-time strategy games. You never want to give your opponent time to consolidate and form his own strategies. You want to be the one dictating. And that's fun. His ally gave him the AT gun that was stolen. You can give people units in certain modes. In the upper right, you see that icon right under the clock, the little black blob with the arrow. Click on that and it lets you give whatever you have selected to your allies. So that's nice to delegate stuff. Like his ally, I guess, didn't want to deal with another AT gun. He figured, I'll let Brother Pedro position it, and it's probably a good idea. But yeah, always try and keep your opponent on the back foot, no matter what you're doing. If you're on the offense, if you're on the defense, just keep him from dictating the terms of the battle, because it always goes better for you, no matter what's happening. It always goes better for you if you're in charge of the next move, or if you try and stay in charge of the next move. Now that thing that Brother Pedro is firing his Su-122 artillery piece at is a mortar in the back of a truck, and that is, oh god, I don't even want to talk about how ridiculously crazy that thing is. It's all the convenience of a mortar in the handy thing of a, well, now it's exploded. And anyways, a mortar truck is just the most annoying thing ever. It just drives around dropping mortars on you. You can't do jack about it. It's crazy. Brother Pedro laying some sandbags too. Nice to see that. Sandbags very useful. On the defense, it costs you nothing to lay them down. Your riflemen come with them. It gives you a lot of cover, not just from enemy fire of the bullet variety, but from explosives too. And really no reason not to stick them up. Of course, you have to worry about your opponent stealing them and using them as cover from the other direction, but as long as you place them in a good spots, you don't have to worry about it. And you know, you can always lay barbed wire or mines on the other side. Of course, to do that you need more specialized people. You need like combat engineers or an engineering truck or something. So looks like they're doing pretty well. Mostly, I'm guessing the Japanese guy on the right's not doing so hot. His people are just getting torn up by the combined powers of Brother Pedro and his ally, and he's just not able to make any offenses. All his stuff gets shot. But on the left, you maybe see on the minimap those red dots on the left. Yeah, we have another offensive by this Japanese player, who I think is my favorite guy of this match, although everyone is doing nice. Is that War Cow or is that Carl Monger? I can't tell. I think that's War Cow. Yeah, that's definitely War Cow 6. If you ever see War Cow 6 in game, try not to be on the opposing team, because you'll be screwed. You saw those riflemen right there. He told them to move behind those sandbags. They were in front of the other sandbags. That's one of the annoying things. A lot of times your people will lay sandbags, and when they're done, they'll be chilling on the wrong side of the sandbag. You got to remember to tell them to move to the other side of the sandbag when they're done. Otherwise, you'll look rather silly. But it doesn't happen all the time. So how are we doing? What's up? It looks like the Russians have this game pretty much in the bag, unless the Japanese make some sort of very nice offensive. Brother Pedro has completely stopped every infantry assault. Things got a little hairy for a little while, but it's certainly to his credit that these infantry have not broken through. Imagine how completely different the game would be if all these squads of infantry on the left had, instead of being stopped in these fields right here, if they had swept into the center from the side and from behind. That would just be a completely different game. It would completely topple the Soviet defenses. All the AT guns would be decrewed. The line would collapse, and the Soviets would be pushed back to their rightmost point. That would just be... Whoop, there's some sort of artillery piece. So, yeah, it's just holding off, like... I'll talk about that, dropping the pistol in a sec. Just being able to hold off offenses like that is important, and being able to conduct your own offenses like that is important. Put yourself in the other guy's shoes and think about trying to make things like that. I mean, obviously in this case it's failing, but it's not... He's not like doing horribly. I mean, he's trying each time, and he's making some headway every once in a while. If only he had some way to take out this tank. So anyways, the officer dropped his pistol. Some people drop the pistol of the officer so that the officer does not feel tempted to engage in combat. We see the KB-85 drive through a house. The officer, this circle that keeps flashing in and out, that is the officer's binoculars. He is able to direct his binoculars in certain directions. Right now he's looking there, and that circle reveals everything in that area. Officer, incredibly useful for scouting. The sniper can do that too, but he reveals things in a much smaller area with his scope. The officer, indescribably useful on both defense and offense, because intelligence is a huge part of men of war. Knowing what you're fighting and where you're fighting it is easily as important as how you fight it. And the officer tells you exactly where the opponent's attacking, lets you shell things for maximum damage. Terrible, terrible damage. But for some reason he's using his SU-122 just to shell bushes instead of scouting with his officer first. I would probably scout with the officer first, dude. You have one. Maybe he knows there's some people in there. I didn't notice anyone, but yeah, what officer plus artillery is like peanut butter and jelly, or like chocolate and peanut butter, or like what else goes with peanut butter? Can you think of anything? Oh well, there's marshmallow fluff that goes with peanut butter. I wonder if carrots would go with peanut butter. I don't think anyone in the world has ever eaten carrots with peanut butter, but suddenly I feel like I want to try that. This is just because I'm incredibly hungry. It's 12 at night, and I always get hungry at times of day that start with a number. So, Japanese actually making some headway. I guess the guy on the left really gave up trying to take the left, and now he's trying to take the center specifically. And for quite a while that was doing pretty well until Brother Pedro's ZSU got back into the fight, and he also brought his tank into the fight, refaced it to fire into the center, and really gotta say, dude, with the tanks, you're not doing it right. Okay, stop just driving your tanks into the exact same spot, because clearly whatever killed the tank the last time is still there, and it's gonna kill the tank a second time. Boo!